What's going on, everybody? This is Average Discussion. Thank you for joining me today. Today is Monday, April 22nd, 2024, and some big news here. Thank you for joining me in Studio Charger. That's right. I still have Studio Silverado, but I got rid of Studio F350 over the weekend, and now I have this more luxurious recording studio. All right. Hey, so anyways, thank you for joining me. It's about 64 degrees just outside the Salt Lake City area. I did not check the gas, but I think it was about $3.85 a gallon, give or take a few cents, depending on where you are. So, the end of everything when they reboot civilization and all they find is the prophetic wisdom of the Average Discussion podcast, they'll know what they can exploit people out of. So we got that going. Hey, listen, I know I've been super inconsistent. Man, I came out with that plan Monday through Thursday, have it done by 4, blah, 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 all those good things. And life just continues to throw me curveballs, and motivation sometimes is at an all-time low. So there's some things that I'm working through, but I am still dedicated to this. I've had a really busy weekend, actually. We ended up getting my 16-year-old son a car, and then I traded in Studio F350 for Studio Charger here. I almost said what I first test drove. But either way, man, it's been a wild weekend. And apparently I spoke too soon because I was talking earlier about how my oldest son had a minor fender bender, when he got his license, but he hadn't got any tickets. And then I apparently spoke too soon because him and his brother just got pulled over today on their way home from school. So that's cool. Luckily, it wasn't for speeding, but it was for something even more stupid. No seatbelts. So, congratulations, Grantsville. You're going to get more money from me for your stupid rule. That's not Grantsville's rules, but I hate that rule. I do. Whatever. I'm not going to really get into that. You can go either way on that. All I'm saying is that, out of all the things that you can get fined for, be that. But anywho, hey, moving on. If you didn't see it, though, the Jets have apparently traded Zach Wilson to the Broncos. So they got that going for him. Good job to you, Denver. Wilson was 12-21 in his time with the Jets, so it included multiple benchings. So that's pretty cool. I hope it works out for him. I really do. I'm not a Zach Wilson hater. I think he's shown some promise in some areas, but I don't know that it was fine-tuned or harnessed right. So it is what it is there, but kind of crazy. Didn't think that would be a landing spot for him after the whole Russell Wilson thing. But yeah, apparently Denver's got some ideas in the works, and it'll be interesting to see what they plan to do. Very interesting. But North Carolina student charged with assault after allegedly slapping teacher in viral video. Parkland High School teacher seen being slapped by student in viral video. A North Carolina high school student faces charges after allegedly slapping his teacher during a viral profanity-laced classroom rant. Is it allegedly if there's video proof? I mean, I guess allegedly because, the whole, innocent until proven guilty, which we all know is kind of the other way around. You're guilty till you're proven innocent. But hey, who's counting at this point? So a North Carolina high schooler has been charged with assault after allegedly being caught on camera slapping a teacher during a profanity-filled exchange. The incident involving the unidentified juvenile occurred at Parkland High School in Winston-Salem on April 15th. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office said on Facebook, video posted online shows the student standing over a teacher who is seated before striking her in the face. Do you think that affected me in any way? The teacher can be heard asking. Want me to hit you again? The student says while stepping up and repeating the question. I don't want it, the teacher says before she is struck again. The hit is so hard her glasses fly off her face while the teenager continues his profanity-filled rant. Ain't nobody even coming. You got slapped, the student says. Bitch, go back to teaching. Yeah. That happened. The student faces 1 charge of communicating threats and 2 charges of misdemeanor assault. The sheriff's office says no additional information will be released since he is a juvenile. Former teachers at the school told WFMY-TV they were not surprised after seeing the now viral video of the assault circulating online, adding the behavioral problems at the school took a turn for the worse when students returned from the classroom following COVID-19 closures. One of the comments, I didn't even know you could comment on Fox News app, but apparently you can. One of the comments says, "Why did no other student who was present here stand up and protect this teacher? Had I been a student present having witnessed that physical assault of my teacher, the immature, violent student assaulting my teacher would have been severely checked and physically restrained until law enforcement arrived to take over and restore peace and protection for our teacher. I wouldn't have been able to witness that without acting to quickly put a stop to the assault and protect our teacher." Comments made by someone named only one. So listen, and then the reply to it was they want the attention of getting the video and putting it on social media, which I'm not saying I disagree with. I think that the reply to that is probably accurate. What I do disagree with is that only one was going to do anything, because here's what I've noticed in life, and maybe I'm wrong about this only one person, but what I've noticed in life is it's real easy to say those things after the fact. You know what I mean? And though I agree somebody should have stepped up and done something. This is why I don't think he would have done it, because he said he or she, don't know who it is, would have been severely checked and physically restrained until law enforcement arrived. Listen, if I'm going to stand up and do it, I don't care about law enforcement arriving. Like, if I'm going to step up and take care of this, like, my plan is to put him out of consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care about having him restrained. He's not going to be awake. So that's why I don't think the guy's serious, and it's kind of one of those things, I think, that it's easy to say you would do something, but you don't know if you really would or wouldn't until you're in the situation, right? So pretty interesting. But one of the comments that I found interesting was the behavioral problems part, right? Where the representative or the former teacher said behavioral problems took a turn for the worse when students returned to the classroom following COVID-19 closures. I believe that, man. I mean, because it's in the workforce, right? Why would it not translate to our children as well? We all just kind of feel a little, for lack of a better phrase, worthless, right? Like, we had these companies basically telling us, like, you'll be all right, and your livelihood is unimportant. We have to protect everybody. And then you see this thing and you're just like, okay, I'm not saying it was the best thing. COVID-19 was a pretty serious situation, but I also don't feel like it was as devastating as some of the things claimed it was going to be, right? And so I think when people look at that, they kind of feel like their life got thrown upside down for no reason. And I'm sure these kids probably feel very similar. It's a very interesting take on it. But the school said that they were going to expel them and all that good stuff. Yeah. It's just respect is gone. Respect for an institution, I think, has really just gone out the window. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to put a finger on why that is. I think the easy cop out is home life, right? But I would argue that I think a lot of parents, they don't tolerate that kind of stuff, but the kids still do it, right? And so it's like a societal problem at the same time, as much as it's probably parental. There was a lot of comments too, by the way, that were extremely ignorant, racist, and just complete trash. Like, people are horrible. I mean, there was a lot of things. It's a bad enough situation that you don't have to throw anything else into it. You know what I mean? But certain people just can't wait to kind of get back. And in a way, I kind of understand the mindset, right? Like, there's a lot of hate towards one particular group at the moment, right? And so every chance you get to defend that, maybe you somewhat feel like you should, but I would argue that you probably shouldn't, right? And I don't know, it's just dumb, man. Like, first of all, this is a kid who is obviously a dirtbag at the moment, but that doesn't mean he's going to be forever, right? And I think as adults, we've lost sight of that. And I think as kids, the kids have lost sight of the concept of respect. And I think the easy cop out is to say that that's something that's taught in the home. And I don't know that that's true. You know what I mean? Because even my own kids have done things that I found out about, secondhand and stuff like that I would never tolerate in my home. You know what I mean? And so I don't know that it's so much in the home, but hands are tied in a lot of ways on appropriate punishments, and for good reason too, which is what kind of sucks, right? Because you can't bank on the fact that everybody's going to have the understanding of what line not to cross, right? So like if you don't instill these things, then you're increasing the chances of bad stuff happening, because not everybody has restraint, right? So like I get why these restrictions are put in place, but it's obviously going to have detrimental effect. So I don't know, pretty interesting. Let me know what you guys think. But Taiwan was rattled by a pair of strong earthquakes just weeks after deadly one. At least 2 strong quakes shook the island nation of Taiwan early Tuesday morning. This comes just weeks after a stronger earthquake killed several people. Now, this was published today, but it's apparently already Tuesday there, I'm guessing. I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing so. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, a magnitude 6.1 earthquake occurred at 2:26 a.m. local time, which is 2:26 p.m. Eastern time Monday. So yeah, okay. Just off the eastern shore of the island nation, about 17 miles off Hualien City, at a depth of 6.7 miles. The second, at magnitude 6, happened about 6 minutes later. So they had pretty much 2 back-to-back magnitude 6 earthquakes. That's pretty crazy. About 8 miles south of the same city, at about the same depth. More than 20 earthquakes have been recorded in the region since Monday. So that's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I hope people are doing okay. My thoughts go out to the people of Taiwan. That sucks. That's pretty big. It's pretty big. So if it wasn't bad enough that Denver Broncos are getting Zach Wilson, Denver migrant advocates say 6 months of free rent food is not enough. It's a slap in the face and offensive. That's what people are saying. Migrants and an advocacy group in Denver decreed the city's new asylum seekers program that offers 6 months of free housing, calling it insufficient and offensive, despite the mayor cutting the city's emergency budget to accommodate the migrant surge. The sanctuary city has been struggling to stretch its limited resources to support the growing number of migrants making their way to Denver. More than 40,000 migrants have found their way to the city since December 2022. More per capita than any other U.S. city, a total cost of around $68 million, the New York Post reported. Last week, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston announced that his city's migrant program would now provide what he called a long-term, sustainable response to address the migrant crisis locally. The program will offer 6 months of free housing, food assistance, workforce training, and more than roughly 1,000 migrants currently in the city's shelter system as they wait for the authorization to work, according to the New York Post. Due to federal asylum seeker law, it can take up to 180 days to obtain working authorization. Now listen, you know what? I'll just read through the rest of it real quick. Housing advocacy group House Keys Action Network, Denver, HAND is the acronym, slammed Johnston for the changes, accusing the Democrat of taking insufficient action to accommodate the migrants in his city. Every new migrant that comes is going to be left to fend for themselves after 24 to 72 hours. That's kind of I'm sorry, that's kind of what happens. Like, you came here illegally. Like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, what do you mean? Why is this a shocker that you got to fend for yourself? I fucking hate people. HAND spokesperson V. Reeves told local ABC affiliate, that was her quote. Every migrant that comes is going to be left to fend for themselves after 24 to 72 hours. Reeves called the program a slap in the face and offensive period of time. Willie Bastida, a migrant, told the station the new rules would only further contribute to the homelessness problem in the city. Yeah, that's why, earlier this year, Johnston predicted that the migrant crisis would cost the city around $180 million. He previously told Fox News that the city was very close to a breaking point due to the crisis and announced the city was cutting $5 million from public services while pinning the blame on Republicans and former President Trump. The city has supported more than 38,000 migrants from the southern border at a cost of nearly $58 million as of March 2024. Venezuelans make up the vast majority of those that have arrived in the city since 2023, according to the Colorado Sun. Texas has transported thousands of migrants to sanctuary cities like Denver to showcase the problem at the borders that border states face when migrants flood their cities. Which, I don't know. That's a pretty smart plan, right? The influx of migrants has also put the city's health system at a breaking point, with about 8,000 illegal immigrants recording about 20,000 doctor visits to Denver Health last year, receiving services such as emergency room treatment, primary care, dental care, and childbirth. Last month, the city asked local property owners to house some of the newcomers who need a place to stay as an alternative way to house its illegal immigrants. Yeah, that's not happening. And here's the thing, right? Like, this is what really sucks, is I am not against immigration. I won't even say that I'm fully against illegal immigration, right? Because I think that there's some situations where people don't really have a choice. And I think that those probably aren't as many as get said that they are, right? I do feel that there's probably extreme circumstances where they don't really have the option to be able to do it legally, right? But I do not believe that it is anybody's responsibility to take care of them once they get here. I don't believe that. I do think that we should have we definitely need, I'm not even familiar entirely with what it takes to become a citizen, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like it really takes quite a long time for everything to go through. And perhaps that's the system that we need to be revamping again, because I'm sure we already have, but maybe we need to do it some more, right? I don't really know. But the point being is that it should not fall on the cities. But people voted for that apparently. Probably not all, which is why this system kind of sucks sometimes, right? Because the loudest voice kind of gets what they want, and it ends up affecting everybody. You know what I mean? But the bottom line is, hey, like 6 months free housing, 6 months free food, and you're calling that a slap in the face? Well, get fucked, dude. Go somewhere else. Good luck. We'll drop you back off down south. See you later. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of shit is that? And the fact that somebody's going around, and I'm assuming it's an American citizen, is going around and advocating that we do more for them. No, I'm sorry. Like, that's pretty generous in my opinion. That's pretty fucking generous. Now, if it takes, what did they say, 180 days, that's what? 6 months, right? So by the end of that 180 days, they should be out. So I guess the problem could be that those services that take 180 days to clear, maybe perhaps there's a backlog in that and it's actually longer than 180 days, but that wasn't specified, right? So what you're telling me is that while this process is going on, we're not only going to, not we, right? But Denver's not only going to give them housing, they're also going to give them food. And by the end of that 180 days, they should be able to provide for themselves, right? I feel like that's pretty goddamn fair, man. I don't know. Shit's out of control. People are crazy with this. I don't know. So I'm going to read you a little quote, a tweet here from Representative Josh Gottheimer. Not really sure where he's from. Okay, but he says, the First Amendment guarantees freedom of speech and assembly, not freedom to harass and intimidate students just for being Jewish. I strongly condemn the anti-Semitic protests happening at Columbia's campus. AOC calls Columbia protests peaceful, despite rabbi warning Jewish students to stay home. So, two opposing views. But if you weren't aware, there's been these anti-Israel, anti-whatever protests going on at these Ivy League schools, and they're overtaking the campuses for brief periods of time before ultimately, obviously, getting arrested for, probably gathering without, permits and stuff like that. But also probably, I would assume, probably some hate speech, some threats of some kind. I imagine there's probably a plethora of reasons that they're getting arrested, excuse me. But here's the thing. This is why I read those two things first. Okay. On one side, you have a Republican out there advertising, I strongly condemn the anti-Semitism, blah, 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 blah. I bet you do. I bet you do. Way to take a situation that needs to be dealt with force, in my opinion. And I'll get into that in just a second. And utilize it to try to garnish support for when it's time for you to be reelected. And then on the other side, AOC, who I think is, I don't know enough about her, I guess, to say really what I'm thinking right now. But the things that I have seen, I think she is a threat to national security, and she should be banned along with TikTok, because everything that I see, calling the Columbia protests peaceful, despite a rabbi warning Jewish students to stay home. Now that's kind of hit or miss, right? Because the rabbi is just looking out for the best interest of his people, and that's completely fair. It's kind of a high emotion situation, so it's the safe thing to do, right? But I don't think that you can call protests peaceful anymore. I don't know if you ever could, right? But what I'm saying is the ones that I've had the luxury of being able to see footage of, because I don't go to them, I don't know that you could ever call them peaceful. So that's kind of wrong in my opinion right there. But let's get more into what she says here. During an Earth Day news conference, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat in New York, switched gears and called the student-led protests happening across college campuses across the country peaceful. Today also serves as a reminder of the power of organizing, of what we can accomplish when young people, climate advocates, that's cool, why are you throwing that in there, labor organizers and working people of all backgrounds come together to demand the future we all deserve. It is especially important that we remember the power of young people shaping the country today, she said. Of all days, as we once again witnessed the leadership of those peaceful student-led protests on campuses like Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, and many others, she continued. So I'm not going to go any more into what she said, but that kind of just gives you, like, this is why I say it needs to be dealt with aggressively. One, if you want to avoid our country looking like those other countries, you don't necessarily have to ban the people from being here. But what you do have to do is you have to ban the idea that they get to just influence their societal beliefs onto us. Now, it's a college campuses, so I'm sure there's probably a lot of, what's the best way to define this? But white savior women, young women out there probably leading the charge. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you have to agree with what Israel is doing, right? And I'm not saying that you can't even protest that. But my question would be, what is your point of protesting at a fucking college campus? Like, what good is that going to do? Okay, so you're sending a message. Okay, I got that. Okay. You're trying to send a message by protesting at these campuses because you know it's going to get attention. Okay, cool. Got it. The point being is, what good do you think it's going to do? It's not going to do any. I hate to break it to you. But on the other side of that, what you are allowing, in my opinion, is you're allowing a thought process of ideals and values from a nation that does not want to be like us, just so we're all clear. From a culture that does not want to be like us. Like, what's happening right now is they're smiling in our face to stab us in our back because we are supporting their agenda. But I can tell you right now, there's going to be good people from it, don't get me wrong. But I can tell you right now that when the time comes, they will turn their back. And then everything that you thought that we've built together in the name of what's those stupid bumper stickers? Coexisting, right? You're going to learn that that's not the case. And we're allowing that. You know what I mean? And I don't think that it should have to be black or white, right? And it's kind of like the immigration thing. I can't say that I'm entirely against it, right? But I do not think that we should be destroying the systems that we've put in place in our own cities to accommodate it. I'm sorry. You came here knowing full and goddamn well that you had nothing. So I hope you figure it out. But that's not my responsibility to have you figure it out. Does that make sense? Right. And so I feel like this kind of falls in the ballpark range of things that were ideas that we're allowing to be pushed forward because there's a percentage of people that think it's the best thing. No, what those people needed was to be sprayed down with a fire hose and arrested and moved off the campuses. Now, I'm not saying you got to go out there and you got to beat them with batons or anything like that. Now, if it calls for it, I'm not against it. Okay. But I'm not against that for any people, not just protesters. Like, there's some mouthy people in the world, and I think they should get beat with a baton. That's just how I feel. Okay. But point being is that I'm not going to say that I'm entirely against it, but we have to make sure that we are not compromising the reasons that they came here. Because if you don't want 100 people begging you for $1 or offering to clean your windshield with a shitty newspaper every time you hit a red light, just saying, maybe we should put an end to it. It's fine to practice your faith. It's fine to want to be here. Like, those aren't my problems with it. And I think we're letting a lot of that shit go by. So, but again, anti-Israel protests sweep across elite universities just before Passover. So we got that. Let's read more into this article here. Columbia student: our campus is not safe for Jews right now. Columbia student Eden Yediger says there have been no consequences for anti-Israel protesters repeatedly violating university policies. Which, because the school probably doesn't know what the fuck to do. Like, because if they go the route I'm saying, that they're going to be crucified on public image. Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know. Anti-Israel encampments swept across elite universities on Monday as anti-Semitic and pro-terror demonstrations at Columbia University reached a fever pitch at the start of Passover. As Columbia held classes remotely following a weekend of hateful rhetoric surrounding its pro-Gaza encampment on the South Lawn, where incidents have included a young woman holding a sign with an arrow pointing to a Jewish student stating Al-Qassam's next target, and anti-Israel agitators shouting, "We are Hamas, and we don't want no Zionists here." Police officials said that Columbia University leadership does not want NYPD on campus, yet a strong police presence was seen outside Columbia's gates, where others appeared to start making arrests on Monday afternoon, according to photos from the scene. We are Hamas. We don't want no Zionists here. I just really wonder, do people... How many of them do you think are legitimately interested in this? I've always kind of wondered this, right? Like, I remember with the BLM stuff too, like, I was genuinely curious, like, how many of them are genuine about it, right? And then how many of them are in it for some kind of gain? And I don't know what that gain would be, to be fair, but like, I've always kind of wondered that, because who just goes around saying shit like that? Like, we are Hamas. And I bet you it's some freaking white chick with dreadlocks, and she spent a year backpacking in Europe, and now all of a sudden she's a yogi guru or something. But like, that's just what I picture, and then now all of a sudden they're pro-Palestine or whatever. So it's super strange to me. I've always been curious about that. I don't know. Do yourself a favor and go to these fucking countries. That's what I'd say. And then let's see if you're still all about it, because it's easy to support it from here, right? From the comfort of American democracy and American safety. Like, that's an easy thing to do. But you take that shit over there. Let me see it. Let's see how well that works out for you. Another similar demonstration popped up outside a New York University building. Unlike Columbia, which locked its gates amid the protest, NYU does not have an enclosed campus space. Tents with the anarchy symbol and a sign attempting to connect Black Rock to Israel apartheid were seen pitched along the sidewalk near the NYU building as anti-Israel agitators banged pots and pans and picketed in a circle. Other signs at the NYU demonstration, captured in footage shared by freedomnews.tv, read, honor the martyrs of Palestine. We are all SJP. That's SVP, Stephen Van. My bad, sorry. We are all SJP, a reference to the anti-Israel group known as Students for Justice in Palestine. Columbia notably suspended its SJP charter for staging an unauthorized die-in event on campus back in November. So that's cool. That's cool. A lot of craziness going on. And I am super, as much as I feel bad about the fact that I didn't get any episodes up and I didn't really get much talking about last week and kind of the week before, right? Like, this shit's out of control. Somebody turn the heat down. This shit's getting wild. It's going to be a hot summer, guys. It's going to be a hot summer and a lot of dumb shit. That's what I predict moving forward. A lot of, the BLM thing didn't stick, so now we've got to go to the pro-Palestine. That's how I feel. And I'm not saying the BLM wasn't justified or even the Palestine thing is not justified, because I admit, what they did at that, when we delivered all the food or whatever, and then everybody goes to get it and they just started launching rockets. That wasn't accidental. I'm sorry. That shit was not accidental. But here's the thing. It's war. Okay? And it's not my war. It's none of my goddamn business. And so being over here protesting against it does no good, because I don't want our government giving them anything either. Okay? So you got my support in that regard. But at the same time, it's kind of out of my control. And, they're not doing anything that's really affecting me or anything like that, right? But, sorry, I'm a little thirsty, guys. But they're not doing anything that's directly affecting me. But eventually it could, and the more that it goes on, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we should, I don't know. Maybe it's not even that big of a deal. Maybe it's just being highlighted as a bigger deal because it was on Fox News, and they're super, super big about doing anything to make Democrats look bad. And so if you look at, Joe Biden, it's not a good look for Joe Biden. So same with the immigration thing, right? They're gonna jump on any chance they can to make that situation worse so they can attack the Biden administration for the policies and all that good stuff, right? And I'm not saying that they're wrong. All I'm saying is that's what they do, right? And so maybe it's not as bad as I think. These protests, maybe it's just college kids trying to, explore their sexuality and find themselves or whatever they do in college. I don't know, because I didn't go to college. I went and got a job, and then that didn't work out, so I joined the military. So I'm a robot. I drank the Kool-Aid. I've admitted it several times. I did all those things. And you know what? I'd do it all again. So I don't know. But, from what I understand, that's what you do. You go chug beers out of each other's butts or whatever the hell it is. And then you get some piece of paper that isn't worth a damn thing because you studied in gender studies or something retarded. I don't know if I can say the R word. Oops, my bad. Sorry. Showing my age there, that was a normal phrase for everybody who wasn't actually mentally handicapped. We used it for people who were classified as being, quote, normal. So we actually showed respect to the mentally handicapped people. That might be the weirdest concept of probably some of these super sensitive people, right? Like that word, we didn't say that to actually mentally handicapped people. At least me and my friend group didn't. Nobody around me that I know of did. We actually said it to people that were, like I said, deemed, quote, normal. But that is what it is. But yeah, man, the world is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Everything's just super expensive. My insurance went up with this car that I just got, and I didn't feel like it would, but it did, because I was already paying full coverage and on my truck and all that. But I guess because even though it's a 6-cylinder, it's a sports car, so they can charge me more. That's okay, right? But we can't have, I won't get into that, but crazy, absolutely crazy. So I'm going to end it on some good news, okay? So Taco Bell manager performs CPR on lifeless baby that pulled up to the drive-thru. The EMT said, "I saved his life." This is from today. It was posted today at the Rickboro Taco Bell outside of Philadelphia. I'm not sure if I said the town right. Manager Becky Arbaugh, not really sure, wasn't working the lunch rush, but was around nevertheless. Yes, because that's what we all like to do, is just hang out at our jobs. She was probably just on break or something, would be my guess. I don't know. She heard a scream coming from the drive-through window, followed by the harrowing words, "Call 911, the baby isn't breathing." The phone would have to wait as Arba, I'm just going to say that, I hope that's right, threw off her headset, but she wasn't working. She was just there nonetheless, but she had her headset. Come on, people, get your story straight. Anyways, good news, Chris, good news. Okay, so she threw off her headset and rushed to see the situation. Just outside the drive-through window, she saw Natasha Long holding the lifeless blue body of her 11-week-old son, Miles. The mom was panicked, Arba told Good Morning America. "I told her to give him to me and I performed CPR. I was trying to calm her down and comfort her and reassure her that he will be fine. The baby finally started to breathe. The ambulance came pretty quick and they took over," Arba said. Arba said. "The EMT said I saved his life. The circumstances could not have been more fortunate for Miles because Arba, a mother of 4 children herself, has already restarted the heart of her daughter a few times owing to medical complications." In an email statement to ABC News, a spokesperson for Taco Bell said, "We are incredibly proud of Becky for her heroic act earlier this week. We are getting in touch to express appreciation for her quick actions and kindness." Sounds like she needs a corporate job, 6 figures, Taco Bell. I got you. Yeah. No more drive-through for Miss Arba. Becky. Yeah. No more drive-through for Becky. She's gonna go around the country and teach CPR to every manager. It's a requirement. A train-the-trainer program so that she makes more money. Yeah. Hook her up, Taco Bell. That's all I'm saying. As for her Taco Bell family, GMA said, Good Morning America, said the store members and those in other locations have showered her with messages of appreciation, while mother Natasha spoke with Arba on the phone the next day to express what the mother's reading can only imagine would be a heartfelt gratitude. Okay, well, I mean, I'm a father reading it, and I can imagine heartfelt gratitude. Come on, goodnews.org or whatever it is. Anyways, so talk about hook her up, man. Get her out of the damn drive-through. Train the trainer program. You could be like EMT Taco Bell. You drive out to save babies and deliver tacos. that sounds like a business venture. Hit me up. We'll figure out all the details. I'll take a job too. Hell yeah. No, good for her. I hope the kid's okay. Didn't say anything else about it, so I hope the kid's okay, and good for her. And you know what? Like, I feel like that's stuff that should be mandatory for a lot of people, man. Like, probably for all of us. Like, we should all have to go through initial first aid training. That's what I really believe. Because we do a lot of talk in this country about like guns and shit like that, right? And it's one, it's so easy to take a life. It's another to save a life, And so I think it should be a prerequisite for everything. You should have to get certified to do that kind of stuff. Just general trauma, first aid stuff. Really encourage people to help each other out. I think that would help. I guess the downside is that, when somebody dies, then everybody's like, I'm suing the person because they didn't know how to properly put a Band-Aid on, right? So, like, I guess from a legality standpoint, I guess I get it, but that's stupid. We need to fix that. Everybody should have to learn this kind of stuff. Everybody should have to understand how to do an initial trauma treatment, right, to help out. I think that's a good thing. I can't really see it going wrong, if people know that kind of stuff. So, Becky, if you're listening, Becky Arba, I hope I said your last name correctly, but good on you. Awesome job. And we need more people like you. That's how I feel. So I try to keep them between 30 to 45 minutes. Right now I'm at about 30. I think I wasted a second there so I'm about 39, 38 minutes, somewhere in that time frame. I hope you guys enjoy the show. I hope you guys continue to stick around. Thank you for all the continued support. I do greatly appreciate it. And I know my consistency is somewhat lacking. Please bear with me. There's a lot of stuff. Like, this week's going to be really tough for me, I think, because I'm really tired from doing a lot of heavy end work, and it's just going to continue throughout the week. So I'm really digging deep to try to get this stuff out there. So I do hope you guys appreciate it and that you enjoy it more than anything. You don't need to necessarily appreciate my effort, but I hope that you appreciate the show and enjoy the show. So, and if you do, by all means, continue to follow me, or go out and follow me if you don't already on Facebook, facebook.com/average discussion. On Instagram, average discussion. On X, formerly known as Twitter, at AVG discussion. I am on Threads, but I'm pretty sure Threads is just AI bots and not real people. So prove me wrong. If you're on there, go over there and give me a follow. You can find the show on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Amazon, YouTube. YouTube channel is Average Discussion. Okay, I don't know if you guys see the theme here, but I try to keep it simple, right? Because I'm a simple-minded person, And if you haven't figured out, I don't claim to be an expert. I don't claim to know everything. I talk about a lot of the news stuff, but I try not to talk about the stuff that you're going to see all day long, okay? I try not to. I try to avoid politics, but hey, we live in a very political world, and I think it's ignorant to assume that we should never pay attention to politics because it affects us, okay? But I do try to not be focused entirely on it. What I can promise you is that you're not going to hear a bunch of pro-right side, pro-left side from me, okay? I agree with things on both sides, and I disagree with things on both sides, and that's just the way it is. I have my own opinions about them, and I try to express my own opinions about them, and that doesn't mean that I'm always right. Just like I don't anticipate everything you say is right, unless you're my wife. All right, so I think I covered everywhere you can find me. Oh, if you want to, you like the show, don't like the show, want to reach out to me directly, don't like the social media stuff, bitches, gripes, complaints, death threats, whatever you may have, you can email me directly at averagediscussion@gmail.com, because I would hate for your death threat to end up lagged in the social media world, because I go through hiatuses where sometimes I don't look at it. And I want to make sure you get that off your chest as quickly as possible. So if that's the case, by all means, email me directly. Average Discussion, that's all one word, averagediscussion@gmail.com. If you've got suggestions or anything else, you don't have to just email me death threats. You can just, whatever. You don't have to just message me complaints. You want to reach out. Let's talk about stuff. I need to get in touch with a friend of mine, Carl, because I've been putting him off. He wanted to be on the show, and I've been putting him off because it's been a really crazy, 60 days, okay? But there's no reason, and I keep putting it off, and I need to. So, Carl, if you're listening, I have not forgot about you, sir. I will be in touch. I just don't know when just yet. Hopefully before football season starts. But you know what? That might be the best time to do it. So I don't know if we'll figure all that out. Hey, that's it, guys. That's what I got for you. So, as always, please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. And until next time, I'm out.